Hello, everybody. Good Saturday morning. Hope you all having a fantastic day and staying warm. It's really cold outside. And for parts of the area, a little snowy, a little festive flakes. I called it yesterday. We talked yesterday how some parts of like northeast Alabama could have a little bit of accumulation. And then around here in the south, it doesn't take much to cause some icy roads and some slick roads. And any reports of any kind of slick conditions this morning because of the snow has been confined to mainly Jackson and DeKalb County. Those of you who are familiar with Northeast Alabama, I go there all the time. If you're making the drive from Higdon to Bryant, it's very slick. I'm sure Alabama 40, I didn't see any reports yet, but I'm sure Alabama 40, where you come down that big hill and you're going up essentially from like Veterans Highway on 35, and you go up that hill and it's got all those S curves and it's a big steep hill, and then you get to the top and there's that big curve that goes around. I imagine that that's probably pretty slick right now too. That's the thing about like Jackson, DeKalb County. You can get like a quarter of an inch of snow, half an inch of snow, and it's not much accumulation, but it's just enough with the cold temperatures that can cause some slick conditions. So that's the current radar, and that's pretty much where most of the flurries and snow showers are now. They'll back off here shortly, and it's really more of just cold temperatures and windy conditions for 98% of us that are dealing with this next blast of Arctic air. But the National Weather Service did throw up a winter weather advisory, and they hoisted that till noon today to cover those icy spots. I know Marshall County is included, but it's really more like Jackson and DeKalb County and up towards Franklin County in Tennessee that have reported any kind of slick conditions. Algo was reporting some slick roads. I think it was on 71 at the intersection of 117. 73 from Bryant down to Higdon had some slick spots. And then I didn't get any other reports except for viewers like you letting me know that you thought maybe Alabama 40 was a bit slick. For those of you who live in the Dutton-Henniger area, we're letting me know that. So the winter weather advisory till noon. But remember, the cold weather alert, that still goes all the way till Sunday. We're not done yet. So in Huntsville, there are no issues with the snow, except that it was a few flurries that came down at times. And the roads are just fine. In fact, there was just a little bit of sunshine on our Huntsville camera moments ago, but the temperature, big headline right now, 18 degrees. And if you've been outside this morning and instead of the snow being maybe something that you were tuned into at first, I'm sure the next thing you felt was the wind. The winds have been howling and gusting up to about 30 miles an hour, and they will stay strong all day long. And with your temperatures only in the teens and 20s, it is going to be a brutal feel to the air in the afternoon. Thought last weekend was cold, and we thought Monday was cold with a little snow globe snow thing we had going on in the morning. But today, like, wind chill values for us to stay like 5 to 10 in the afternoon, you know that the air mass is really cold or you have some really strong winds. Well, the problem is we have the combination of both of those today, and that's the reason why it's going to be so chilly. I have some errands to run today, and I'm dreading when I walk out the store in the afternoon at like 2 o'clock when I get my errands done and I walk out and that wind hits me in the face, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be ruthless. We said last weekend that some of the coldest air for the winter was arriving, and then this weekend we topped it with even a colder day for your Saturday. If you're not a fan of the really cold stuff, it looks like there'll be some improvement tomorrow. It gets a little bit better, but the big jump will be Monday and Tuesday, and I'll show you that 10-day forecast coming up. Madison right now looks a little shady with some sun in the distance. There were a few flurries moments ago on 565, but not now. Looks like the roads are just fine. We're good to go. Again, for 98% of us, it is literally just a cold morning. For that very specific area in northeast Alabama where you have some slick roads, that's the exception rather than the rule. But now the temperatures for everybody are in the teens. And of course, we have our 3-degree guarantee, right? So I already put that out at 24. Brad changed it to 24 last night. It looked good. The thought process is that the temperatures may come back up just a little bit today, and we'll probably get to like 22, 23. But technically, our high temperature for today is already 25 degrees in Huntsville because it happened at midnight. And we've been dropping ever since. So if that ends up being the high temperature, book it, Dano. We got the last day of the month right, and we're on a roll. Come on, computer. There we go. Wind gusts. Yeah, current wind speeds, first off. Yeah, around 20 miles an hour sustained. See how the arrow goes down? That means the winds are coming out of the north. If it turns a little bit, like that 15 in Haleyville, that's northwest. And so the winds out of the northwest is literally essentially key to you at home that cold blast of air is coming in because it comes down from the north. When your winds come from the south, they're coming from the south. So it brings in warmer air, southwest wind. So the gusts are like 30, so it's just bone-chilling cold. So here's your feel-like temperature right now. Yeah, that's cold. 2 in Scottsboro, 2 at the airport in Huntsville International Airport. The airport in Meridianville, 2. Leoma, 1 below. 3 in Moulton. So cold I can't talk. 3 in Russellville. So you get the gist. This isn't going to change much into the afternoon. So, do you think we can go up to Gadsden today? Christina, that is your choice. You can make that call. I don't think the weather will impact you. If you're leaving later in the afternoon or if you're leaving later in the morning, early afternoon, you're just going to be really, really cold. And I would dress for it to be really chilly. But, I mean, I can't make that call for you. That's you. But I think weather-wise, you should be okay. Hey, Jeff, I have an update for you for the Henniger area. Great. Talk to me, Austin. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. Hi, Mike Geno from Pearl River this morning. What are you doing at Pearl River this morning, my friend? Good to see you on. Bentley's on. Good morning to you. Karen Russellville got a dusting. Yes, a little dusting. So we had 2 batches of snow showers when I was on air at 5 o'clock. One was northeast Alabama, which has caused a few slick spots. And there was another one racing through like Phil Campbell and Russellville. And many of you letting me know, like in the Vina Hodges area, there was a little bit of dusting on the grass. But the roads there have not been reported to be icy. And that's always my biggest concern. I called it festive flakes for most of the area that would be on the grassy surfaces, and that's all true, except for a few slick spots in northeast Alabama. And what that is, it's a signal or an indication that the Arctic air is here. And with the temperatures that I just showed you, that makes sense. Here's your wind speed and gusts. This graphic has us about 30. I am not going to be surprised if we have a 35 or 40 mile per hour wind gust this afternoon, mainly northwesterly. And with the cold temperatures in the low to mid 20s, just rough outside. Going to end the month of January very cold. But if you're a fan of maybe thawing out a bit and maybe getting a little bit more in the way of some warmer temperatures, we have that in the forecast for you. Yep, everybody talking about their dusting. That'll be the focus instead of the cold and the wind. Next 12 hours, a little flurry activity this morning, mainly confined to northeast Alabama. Temperatures in the mid-20s as we go to the day, and a lot of clouds too. I saw a little sunshine, though, on some of the cameras, which is good. But it's all about the cold and the wind. I know the snow is a huge distraction this morning, but it's the cold and the wind that could be hazardous to people in the afternoon. It's not going to be the dusting of snow that you have on your grassy surfaces. But when you're outside today, and I know a lot of people still will wear shorts to the grocery store. It's because of what they do. But you can get frostbite pretty easily with temperatures this cold, especially with the wind chill values as low as they're going to be. For tonight, the winds, they'll gradually back off. It's still pretty breezy. So when I'm on air tomorrow morning, temperature should be around like 10 to 15. Wind chill value, even with just a little bit of wind, will go down to about 0. It'll be quite frigid. But the good news about Sunday is that after that chill in the morning, we have a chance for 2 things to happen that should make tomorrow better. Well, actually 3 things. 1, a little sunshine should pop. 2, not as much wind. And 3, a little sun. So therefore, the temperatures will be like low to mid 30s, and Sunday turns out to be all right, not too bad. There's your 10-day forecast, everybody. Micah says, cold weather, hot weather, you just live with it. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do. You're right. You can't control weather. That is the smartest thing I've ever seen written. You can't control it. Just got to deal with it. Alexandria, how is Scottsboro looking? Scottsboro is very beautiful, actually. I like driving through there. There's one of these fast food places. It's the burger place. They are the nicest people that work there. I love Scottsboro, but I think looking-wise, it looks good. And I don't think you have any issues driving in Scottsboro. If you were to take your drive from Scottsboro and go east up 40, you will probably encounter some slick roads at that point. But if you're driving in and around Scottsboro, many people who I've talked to this morning that live in the Scottsboro area that I know said the roads are just fine in Scottsboro. It's areas like in the higher elevations when you go east up 40 and you get to like 117, 71, 73 hike, they could be a little slick. But that's about it. And whatever is slick this morning should get better by the afternoon, I would think. especially if we get a little sunshine. I don't think we'll get a lot of sun, but nonetheless, it should get better. But anytime you have pitched roads that are up and down in S-curves, a little slickness goes a long way for sure. So 48 first alert weather day for today for the cold and the wind, temperatures in the 20s. Tonight, 14, very cold, 35 Sunday, but then some really wonderful things take place. Upper 40s for Groundhog Day / Possum Day, and 50s on Tuesday. It's going to come with some rain in the afternoon, but 56. The crazy part about the forecast right now is that 56 isn't too far off from what we should be for this time of year. The normal high is about 54 in Huntsville. So just getting back to where we should be this time of year is going to feel like a thaw, early February thaw, because of course we're in February on that day. And then rain comes Tuesday night, rain Wednesday morning. Then it cools off for Wednesday and Thursday. And then we're right back up. And if that forecast sticks for Friday and Saturday, Sunday, and the following Monday, 50s and sunny is actually pretty awesome. I don't think it's going to last because it looks like there's another hit of really cold air that comes in the middle of February, but it's a big improvement from where we've been at the last couple of days. And even like it's crazy. Like if you look at the high temperatures from like what's happened is, sorry, I'm reading this post. So like happens is like, you get like these really cold days like this where, it feels like really chilly. If you break down the high temperatures that were recorded in Huntsville International Airport, or really just about any location in the Tennessee Valley last week, the numbers don't tell the whole story. Because like when we had that winter storm, we hit like mid 40s on Saturday and Sunday. It was brief and it caused everything to change over to rain for the good chunk of the area. But it's going to go in the books as a 46-degree high on last Sunday. But we all know how it felt once the rain and most of the rain came to an end in the evening, and it was like drizzly and 30, then it was 25, then it was 20, then it was icy. So like sometimes those high temperatures that go in the book are a little bit deceiving. But yeah, you get the gist. All right. So Brett, Jeff, oh, you love talking with Brett. Hope you have a blessed day. You too, my friend. Thanks for always keeping us updated. You're the best. You got some sun in Decatur. There you go. That's a positive. I love that. It's good stuff. Austin, Alabama 40 and Alabama 75 in Henniger. Highway traffic is melted out, accumulating snowfall, which is now frozen to ice. Travel with caution. There you go. That's exactly the roads I just was talking to you about. And it's those areas that when you go up 40, and he's talking about 11 too, which is in Valley Head area. I mean, those roads, like, so I go out there for a lot of different reasons. I love that area. I have a lot of people I know in Jackson, DeKalb County. I go there quite a bit. But when you get up there into those higher elevations, when you go east of Scottsboro at 40, it's a whole new world up there. Like I drive on 117, and there's pitch to the roads. 73, 71, all the back roads. I drive through Pisgah. I drive, out to Valley Head. I drive to Mentone a lot. Those are some they're tough roads to drive on anyway, let alone throw a little snow down. And then as the cars go over the top of them, you melt it. Does anybody remember? This is a good example of this. Do you remember December 26, 2022? Let me take you back 3 years. It was like my first month working in Alabama. And it was the Christmas that was so cold, right? It was bone-chilling cold. And I'm like, why did I move here? What am I doing? Anyway, the next day after Christmas, everybody was all distracted about Christmas stuff. We said, hey, there's a chance for some snow showers and flurries. Being from Connecticut, I didn't think it was going to be much. It was like a quarter of an inch of snow. But you know what happened is the ground was so cold already. That snow, freezing to the ground, started to melt when all the cars were driving on it. And then all of a sudden, the cold temperatures, we went right back down again at night. And as sun or daylight went to darkness, that all froze up like an ice rink. And it wasn't just in the higher elevations in Northeast Alabama. It was Huntsville. It was Madison. It was everywhere. Montesano. That's when I really started to learn all the different hills that we have here because they were all closed. And all it took, it wasn't even a quarter of an inch of snow, but it was enough, which is what's happening right now in Northeast Alabama. That was a great thing that Austin just wrote. He said, a little snow drops on the ground. Now all the cars drive on it and they heat it up. What does it turn to? Water. And then what happens is the temperature is 18 degrees. little layer of ice right there. And when you're driving on those roads that Austin just mentioned, 40, 75, 11, they're like this, and they're all hills. Sorry, I hit the microphone. Got excited. My hands are all over the place. But the hills and all that stuff, it all contributes to the roads being quite slick. It's not like heavily traveled roads, but if you live in that area, it's certainly going to keep you locked in for a while. Christina, I talked about that already. From Fort Payne to Scottsboro, you should be fine. I don't know which direct route you're going to go, but you should be okay. I mean, unless you're going to go, if you're taking Fort Payne and you're going 59 and you're going up towards like Valley Head and Mentone, and then you're going to come across on Alabama 40, that would probably be the way I wouldn't go. I would probably try to go west first and then go north, and then you should really have no problems. If you can get out to Guntersville and then take Scottsboro Highway up 79 and get you downtown to Scottsboro that way, that would probably be the better way to go because you wouldn't get into some of the higher elevations off to the east. You really want to stay away from eastern DeKalb and eastern Jackson County because that's where we're seeing most of the slick roads. So if you were in Fort Payne and you went west first, maybe out towards Alder Springs, and then you get into Guntersville that way, how I know all these roads and I'm not from here, I do not know. Then you take 79 Scottsboro Highway or Columbus Highway, there's many different names to it, and then you go north that way and you straddle the river on the west side, you should be fine. Hi, Denise. As my mom said in January of 1955, you were born on the coldest day of the year. Remains true today. Oh, Denise, you're right. Happy birthday to you, too. Happy birthday, Denise. January 31st birthday. Good for you. Good stuff. Good for you. I'm going to put the radar back on everybody. So you see the 10-day. Let me cycle back, okay? January 31st. I'll have to do a look. You know, Denise, I'll look at the history of January 31st and see how many days it's been really cold. I imagine quite a bit. You are in the depth. There's your feels like temperatures, everybody. That's cold, right? Yep. There's your current wind speeds. There's your current temperatures. That's the problem that we have east. Anything that was wet from the snow with the cars melting it all, 18, 19 degrees, that's going to make it quite chilly and quite icy. That's on Alabama 40, 75, 11, all those 73. Anything that's really east of Scottsboro at this point. Anything that's, even I bet you, like, let me check Algo really quick. I don't even think 59 is reporting any issues, but let me check really fast. I will find out for you. Yeah, same roads that I pretty much talked about. Algo's reporting the same thing. Still some snow showers that are moving south into DeKalb and Henniger, DeKalb County, Henniger, Valley Head, Mentone, Fort Payne, Rainsville. Probably pretty decent snow shower activity right now moving south. So I'm not really picking up on too many of the roads that are like, there's a part of 59, maybe like just at the Georgia state line that's reporting maybe a little bit of a slowdown. So no, that's based on Algo, though. That's based on the Algo page. So, yeah, Austin just said Highway 35 from Fort Payne to Scottsboro should be clear. And that's another way. That's a great way to go, too, if you don't want to go that far west. But thank you, Austin. I appreciate that. It's good stuff right there. But I would imagine as long as you don't, if you're in Fort Payne, don't go east. Whatever you do. Stay west and northwest, whatever you can do. Denise, you're welcome. Happy birthday again. Good stuff. So, I wanted to put the radar on. I got distracted. Pretty bright things. We are so far away from the computer now in this room. And with the door shut, it's so hard to get this thing to go backwards. I might not be able to move it, everybody. I think we might be stuck on this graphic. Oh, no, it's thinking about it. I think I got it. There we go. That was an effort. So there's your radar. It doesn't look all that impressive, but it's enough where it's making roads a bit slick for areas in northeast Alabama. We've already talked about it at length here this morning. If you're traveling in any other part of the Tennessee Valley, and even areas west that have had a coating in Russellville, the roads are fine there. I checked all the Algo cameras. I don't see any slick conditions. I've checked. Unfortunately, there's not very many Algo cameras in northeast Alabama, unfortunately. But most of the areas that I can see with the cameras and stuff look pretty good. We're just tracking a little bit in the way of some slick conditions in DeKalb and Jackson County. Again, the closer you are to the Georgia line, the higher the chance the road will be a bit slick. The farther away you are from the Georgia state line, the better chance that the roads are mainly just dry. Especially here in Huntsville, Madison, the traffic triangle, all good. Hi, Eric Burke. What's going on? How you doing? You want to come in, finish weather extra for me? Got to go. See ya. Good to see you on, my friend. I still feel guilty we didn't play pickleball yesterday, though. Yep. Eric had a busy day yesterday. He not only worked the morning, but then he had a kindergarten class in Harvest that he had to go speak to, and he was there, and then he gave up, turned his back on our pickleball day at 3 o'clock. That's okay. So there actually are some cameras in Russellville, Bentley. There's actually, I think there's a couple on the Algo page. I think there's one in Phil Campbell. I think there's one in Russellville. I don't know. I'd have to go look. It's not a great camera. The Algo camera is essentially pointed at the ground, but it does show road conditions, which is great. And they never move it. But I think there's one in Russellville. We don't have any cameras here. Our weather cameras don't have one in Russellville, but Algo has one. But, yeah. So no thanks. Pickleball soon. Harvest kids were great. Yeah, they had who doesn't want to talk to kindergartners? Like, that would be fun. What do you like best? What's your favorite weather? My favorite weather is snow. What do you like about snow? I like snowballs and snowmen. So pure. It's so wonderful. So not jaded anymore. It's great. And pickleball. And Eric and Burke and I, we do sneak into the indoor courts to play pickleball sometime, but I strongly recommend not trying to play pickleball outside today. It would be impossible. The wind would blow the pickleball into the next court. You wouldn't even have fun. Plus, it's a little cold outside. But, those days of being outdoors and playing pickleball, they'll come back soon because there's a big, bold prediction that's going to take place this Monday. Whether you watch Sam Mountain Sam or you watch Puxatawny Phil or any of the wonderful rodents or alligators or whatever in each state that they have predicting the weather. It's not quite as popular as it was when I first started in TV because of so many issues with, how the animals are kept and everything else. But it's still cool that everyone talks about weather, if not for one day out of the year. No matter what you think a groundhog's going to say or do, or what a possum's going to do or say about a forecast, if spring's coming early or winter's going to continue, the one thing everyone's doing at the water cooler that Monday morning when the groundhog or whatever it is comes up, that little marmot, everyone's talking about weather. It's pretty cool. Probably going to do a lot of talking about weather today, tomorrow, and Monday. Not only with the cold temperatures for the weekend, but because the groundhog makes a bold prediction on Monday. And Puxatawny Phil, he's the one who says it all. Like he is the top of the cream of the pile when it comes to the groundhog predictions. Like there's others, but there's no Puxatawny Phil. And the way that they put that all together is elaborate. If you ever seen the video or watched the actual live shot, the festivities in Puxatawny, Pennsylvania begin this week and really get going this weekend. They know how to have fun. It's like Mardi Gras, but groundhog style. It's pretty cool, actually. And they have a really good time. I've always wanted to go. But I worked in a market in New England where the Patriots made the Super Bowl every single year. And we only had one photog that could go. And that photog would have to go cover the Super Bowl of the Patriots every single year. And so I never got to go to Pennsylvania and cover it. I've always wanted to do it. It's kind of like a dream of mine. But I never had that opportunity, and now I'm here, and that's not going to happen. So not going to have me go to Puxatawny and do that now. But anyway, I digress. So if you're driving in Jackson or DeKalb County, please use caution and winter weather advisory till noon for areas in northeast Alabama. It includes Marshall County, but I really think it's mainly confined to eastern zones. Right along the Georgia-Alabama state line is where we're seeing some icy conditions. For, again, 98% of us, this is all about the cold and the wind. even if you had a coating of snow last night, it's the cold temperatures and the winds that are going to be persistent all day long. The exception will be for areas that you see here where the blue is now. There could be a few flurries or snow showers up until about 11 a.m., but the damage is done. There's a little ice to deal with in northeast Alabama, but most of the area is driving on dry paved roads that look great, and you're just making sure 2 hands are on the wheel and you're not moving into the next lane with the wind gust that might take you and move you off a little bit. So we don't want that to happen. Brett, good old Puxatawny Phil. Been the ceremony once or twice. Brett, I'm very jealous of that. I've never been, and I'm extremely jealous that you've gotten to go not once but twice. I mean, I've had some friends go, and like it is a party. Like they are pretty excited to have Groundhog Day in Puxatawny Phil. But it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. I don't know. One day, maybe someday. I'm getting kind of old for that stuff now, but Austin, where'd you go? Good updates from Austin. Back roads and headers seem to be all right now, but as more people drive on them and pack them down, it will get slick. It's great advice, and that's what Austin was just talking about with me moments ago, is where you have cars that are driving on areas that may have a little snow on the roads. Again, everybody, if you're just joining, this is mainly like northeast Jackson County, eastern DeKalb County. You could have a little bit of slick conditions because the cars melt the snow a little bit and it gets wet and it turns to ice, especially because they're not heavily traveled roads too. Like if we had this happening on 565, the cars would just keep on driving and it would be hard to ice up because it would keep it hot, right? But when you have an area that doesn't have a lot of like traffic and you bring a car over it and you melt the snow a little bit or melt whatever's on the road, whatever, and it turns to ice, there's no other car coming for like another 20 minutes probably. I mean, that's why these aren't really heavily traveled roads, but for roads where you live, if you live in these areas, like in far northeast Alabama, it will be impactful through the morning hours. Renee says, snowing here in Ardmore, nothing major, just some light snow. Yeah, see that little flurry activity? So you got the main core of it. Like, I wish I was in front of the green screen. Drives me crazy. You see that main core of like blue over by like Scottsboro and Fort Payne. That's some probably decent like snow shower activity. Somebody told me yesterday there were snow squalls coming. I'm like, no, you've never been in a snow squall if this is what you think a snow squall is. These are snow showers, flurries. But you see that little blue up by Fayetteville coming down? That's the flurries that you have at your house in Ardmore right now. And they'll probably swing through New Market here soon. The air is so dry right now. So the dew points drop, the temperatures drop. What does that mean for you at home? Why do you care about the dew point? Well, the dew point is an indication of how dry the air mass is. And our dew points drop to the single digits. So if the air is really dry, what does that do to the snow? It makes it really light and fluffy. How often do we have snow events in the Tennessee Valley that it's like that concrete mixer stuff, right? Heavy, high water content, temperature 30, snowing, and you got to break your back to shovel whatever's on the driveway, right? This is not that kind of snow. This is a fluff factor to it. And it's very light, and it just flies around like a snow globe. And that's what's happening outside right now, is that a lot of times when you have this, the winds will actually blow most of that snow off the roads. But where you catch a few cars on it that can pack it down a little bit, you can get some ice. One of the biggest challenges when you actually have to forecast like a big snowstorm, especially in the northern latitudes, is what kind of snow is falling. Is it light and fluffy, or is it heavy and wet? Because that can play a big part in how much snow falls in the backyards of your viewers. So like if you have a fluff factor, you could have the same amount of water content with the storm that maybe would be 30, would produce only 3 inches of snow. But if you have a storm that's like 10 degrees and the snow is really dry and light and fluffy, you could have the same water equivalent and get like almost 10, 11 inches. We call it a fluff factor. There's a real deal with that. It's not like fluffing your pillow. It's like fluffing the snow, and it can make the accumulations higher. Now, we're not going to have much in the way of accumulations with this, so that's trivial. But it's also why the snow is so light and fluffy and just blowing around everywhere. And even where we had some snow showers outside of northeast Alabama, if it was on the road, like I went out to my driveway this morning at 3 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning, and I had a little bit on the side, the wind was blowing it right off the driveway as soon as I walked outside because the winds were really gusty. So it was really not a big factor. Brett gives you a good excuse to take a vacation. A newscast from Pennsylvania would be awesome. I don't know what vacation really means. I haven't figured that out. So, Thomas, are we expecting any snow dusting in Florence? No, probably not. This is part of a big storm system, Thomas, that is actually going to affect the Carolinas and Virginia with a really blockbuster snow event. And this big area of low pressure is developing to our east, and the wraparound moisture around that low is what's throwing a few of these snow showers our way. That development was closer last night, and that's why some areas in Russellville, Vina, Hodges had a little bit of coating. But like this is mainly to our east, and I don't think there'll be much west of I-65 in terms of any flurries or snow showers this morning. This will mainly be right along 65 and east, and really it's like a Jackson-DeKalb County event more than anything else. But Amber says snowing in Anderson, nothing major though. No, just a few little flurries. You can see it right above the Athens there coming down. That's your snow showers that you see there, Amber. Brett says, I don't miss shoveling heavy snow. No, I don't either. I'm not a big fan of winter and snow. I don't know if anybody could tell that or not, but I want to work in the gardens and I want spring. Brett says, hurts backs and egos. You know what it hurts more, my friend, is when you're a meteorologist and you don't forecast the snow on a big snow event, which I've done before. Oh, you'll get like 2 inches, and then all of a sudden it's like 7 inches in the backyard, and somebody's like, yeah, my back hurts and my ego hurts, and yeah, my forecast hurts too. Been there, done that a few times. Usually, most part. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the worst snow forecast I ever had. I've had a few. Snow's really hard to forecast. It's very subjective too. Like you can get the forecast right and nobody thinks it's right. But one time in Cheyenne back in like 2006, big blizzard, low pressure coming off the front range of the Rockies. And it was like a slam dunk, 2 to 3 feet of snow in Cheyenne. And the night before the storm was supposed to get here, like literally the forecast model runs an hour before it was supposed to arrive, backed off on it because they had the low pressure go too far south. So parts of southeastern Wyoming picked up like 2 feet of snow, but it missed the capital city of Cheyenne. And people were sending me pictures of the asphalt, calling it the blizzard of 2006. Yeah, that was a tough pill to swallow the next day on air. But it is what it is. You're going to miss them every once in a while. Felt like we covered the winter storm pretty well last week. Fine-tuned the precipitation type, and once we got into that, it was fine. And, you know, I think Eric Burke jumped on the snow, and Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis talked about how northeast Alabama would have some impacts with snow here through the overnight into the morning. I think what did Brad call it? A flizzard or a frizzard? I don't remember what he called it. It was hilarious. So, like, the best personality ever. So, and then he actually wrote, like, looked like a true definition. I don't think it's a true definition. I've tried to look it up, but he made it. He was like, this will make you think that it looks so much worse on the radar than it is. It was just hilarious. If you go to his page, it's funny. But it also rhymes with blizzard, so it's a flizzard, you know. So his email to all of us last night in the Weather Center was the flizzard forecast is underway or something like that. So it was funny. It's things like that I live for, just to let you know. Yeah, Brett says, whoa, here comes some lake effect snow. I have never had to deal with lake effect snow. Well, I've worked in areas I've had lake effect snow at, but not like the Great Lakes. Like, that's a challenge, man. You want to talk about hard. You get the wind in a certain direction to get wind off the Great Lakes. Like, you get these narrow bands of 3 feet of snow, and anybody north and south of that gets nothing. No, thank you. I'm good with that. I almost took a job in Buffalo once. Almost. I did not. I ended up going to a different station. Those were the days. They were a long time ago for me. All right. I'm going to go home. I'm going to cuddle with my dogs. I'm going to eat chicken noodle soup all day long. I am going to run some errands and brave the cold temperatures. But you do you. If it's an indoor board game kind of thing, if it's just maybe going to run some errands, just stay warm, get the heat going in the car, you all set. Those of you who might be going to the Havoc game that came up short last night, they'll be back at it tonight in action. And it'll feel like hockey inside the arena, and it'll feel like hockey outside the arena. In fact, inside the venue might be warmer than the outside by the time you get to the game. If you're going to the Havoc game and you leave after a Havoc win, it is going to be brutally cold in the evening and overnight hours. So very chilly stuff. But you do you. Have a good day. Stay warm. And as I showed you on the 10-day forecast, there's a break coming early in the week. We got some 40s and 50s, and I feel like it'll be a nice little February thaw after what turned out to be a pretty chilly end of January, especially for the last day of the month with your temperatures today being so cold. So everybody have a fantastic day. We'll talk soon.